Once again, time for Husker Chat as we talk with Sean Callahan of Husker Online as we take a look back at Nebraska's convincing victory against UTEP and the huge game this Saturday night against Colorado. Sean, as always, thanks a lot for the time. It almost felt like the old days on Saturday when Nebraska whipping an opponent at home and over 100 guys got into the game.
Yeah, 107 is the official final tally, and you'd be hard pressed. Maybe Bethune-Cookman in 2018, that many got to play, but it's really hard in today's era of football parity to ever be in opportunities where you could literally pull your starters at the 5-minute mark left in the third quarter. But they did what they needed to do. They came out and they scored again to make it 37-7. Matt Rule really liked where the game was at that point. He's like, let's get these guys in. And the bonus is nobody really was stressed. I mean, I think Ty Robinson played 19 or 20 snaps on the defensive line. Jamari Butler and, Nash Huntmacher barely played 15. So they were able to really keep that defense fresh and rested. They also took care of business. I mean, on the first 4 possessions for UTEP, they only ran 11 plays. Nebraska's opening scoring drive, Jayson, was 12 plays. I mean, that really kind of tipped the balance of the game in terms of the play count and time of possession, which we saw kind of bear out on the final stats.
I love the composure of Dylan Raiola. I mean, not often can a guy come in and be as good as advertised, but he looked like an old pro on Saturday. Granted, that was against UTEP, but what a great spot for him to begin.
Yeah, it's still not I mean, go look at Wisconsin in their opening game. They really got pushed by Western Michigan, who I'd put as a comparable opponent to UTEP. I mean, these games are not like the old days. You're going to get pushed a little bit more. Florida Atlantic pushed Michigan State in their opener. Iowa obviously took care of business, but you don't see performances like that from a quarterback in their very first career moment, especially as a true freshman. I thought that was as impressive of a debut as I've ever seen from a true freshman in Nebraska. I don't know how you could be even any more impressive than that for a guy making his first start in week 1 as a true freshman.
I was at the game sitting in the crowd as they were working the ball up the field just to watch him go through his reads and then the ability to make big time throws. I mean, there's just so much that this guy can do.
Yeah, the way he was able to improvise and kind of find, the sidearm throw that everyone's going to compare to Patrick Mahomes, his composure in the pocket. And that's what really jumps out. Nebraska hasn't had a lot of quarterbacks that sit in the pocket and move the way he does, but that allows him then to see the whole field and make some of those throws. But then the execution of the 2-minute drill, that was a big teaching moment. You just don't get those live situations very often. And for him to go out there and execute it in his very first try, I would love to know the data on how many true freshmen in their very first game flawlessly execute a 2-minute offense like that the way he did.
Well, it was certainly a great start. Hope we can keep it going. We're talking with Sean Callahan of Husker Online. Now on to Colorado. I've seen more gnashing of the teeth of what took place last year for the Huskers out in Boulder. Husker Nation wants this game pretty badly.
Yeah, you talk about the series history, and Nebraska leaving the Big 12 had complete control of the series. I mean, I want to say, other than maybe 07, Nebraska, they had won every one from 08 to 10 and all the ones before that for the most part. But then to lose the last 3, 2018, 2019, 2023, where Nebraska probably could have won if all 3 of those games, for sure 2 of them. It has stung, especially the beating Nebraska fans take from Colorado fans. I mean, these are fans that don't like Nebraskans, and the beating you take from that fan base, Nebraska, it's personal. I mean, Nebraska fans really, really want this game because who knows, Jayson, this might be the last time Colorado and Nebraska will ever play a game in the regular season. So there's even more meaning to it.
How about the Buffs? They've had an interesting offseason. Coach Sanders and his health problems, and then the news that broke last week about the NIL troubles. They had kind of a squeaker in week 1. How good of a team is this?
They're an elite offensive unit in terms of quarterback play and skill play. They're as good as you'll see. But what about the parts around them? Their defense, 5 of the starters on Saturday will be starters from last year's defense. So there's more continuity there returning than I think many give them credit for. But it's really well documented how much turnover they've had year over year. That's just the style Deion Sanders is going to play with the transfer portal. But I do think Nebraska's offense will be a tough matchup for them on defense. It's a matter of the pace that Matt Rule can keep this game at. I think it's going to be really important to pound, and not let this thing turn into a 7-on-7 track meet. Because if it does, that plays right into the hands of Colorado. And you hope that Nebraska's defense can get pressure on the Buffaloes. Nebraska's defense, Jason, did not blitz one time against UTEP. They ran a straight 4-man rush, 3-man rush. They played a drop back zone. They were very vanilla in what they showed on film in week 1. I would expect we'll see a lot of new stuff from Tony White this week.
Should be fun to watch it develop. I would think too, at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, that has to be an advantage for Nebraska, isn't it?
No question. I mean, I think Nebraska's offensive line and the physicality they bring, and I thought the tackle play was where it should be for week 1. I mean, they gave up 2 hurries, I think, and that was it. I mean, they did a really good job. The 1 sack allowed was blamed on the quarterback for miscommunication. So that for week 1, that was as good as you could have hoped for a start. Nebraska's D-line is going to cause problems. The fact that they did what they did to UTEP without a blitz, that tells you their strength, that they can do a lot with just 3 or 4 people up front. And I think this week we're going to see Tony White bring a lot more.
And hopefully everybody's juiced for the game on Saturday night. I would think so. The fans certainly could help the Huskers out a lot in this one.
Yeah, this game at night, it's just peaked right. I think having this game at 6:30 on NBC, it doesn't get any bigger than this. You're going to get that beautiful NBC broadcast, the lights, the stage. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, this is as anticipated of a home game as there probably has been since 2014 Miami, if you're trying to compare straws. And I think this one is equally more because of the sideline stature of Deion Sanders and kind of the profile he's brought to this game.
Well, Sean, as always, we appreciate the time. Hopefully the Huskers put forward another fantastic performance on Saturday, and hopefully next week we're talking about the Big Red being 2-0.
Hey, thanks, Jason. Looking forward to Saturday.
That was Sean Callahan of Husker Online, joining us as he does throughout the season. Once again, glad to have you here. We are here each week. You can listen online as well. For Husker Chat, I'm Jayson Jorgensen.